Things in life suck. I can't deny that. Honestly, at the end of the day, if we try our best, like, I'm proud of you. I've been really thinking about gratitude lately, just the idea of it and the way that it can completely change your life. Honestly, I have a lot of things in my life right now that I feel like I need to really sit down and practice some gratitude with. Just some things that I'm still working on healing from, still working on processing, and just a lot of different things that I think the practice of gratitude can be helpful with. And that's what we're going to talk about. There's a lot of different ways that you can practice gratitude for the people around you, gratitude for your environment, gratitude for your opportunities. And all of these are part of the way that I want to talk about gratitude today. But ultimately, the main purpose, I think, of today's episode is talking about gratitude for the person that you are, gratitude for you. Have you ever been in a place where it just like, you could be doing absolutely nothing, or you could be on a trip or something like that, where all of a sudden everything just feels like perfect? Like, I feel like the best example of this is when I was younger and had pandas disorder, and we were on a trip, and it was, I think, like the first moment for a while that I felt somewhat functional. Like, I was able to appreciate the beauty of where we were, even though I was in a lot of pain. And that moment, everything just felt right. Even if it was just for like 1 second, I felt like, yeah, like I'm grateful and I can breathe for just a second. And obviously not everyone's going to have it on such a, a large scale like this where they're dealing with some big disorder or something, but I think we can all understand that feeling. I hope that we can all understand that feeling. And if you haven't had that feeling, I hope that you can have it someday, where it's just like something just feels right. Even as simple as like going to bed at night and not having to worry about something. Like, sometimes it just feels so nice to do that. And I think that's what the practice of gratitude can do, especially gratitude for yourself. So even though it's not going to make life perfect or anything, the way that you practice gratitude really changes the way that you look at things. When you're stressed out about something, when something's really difficult, finding even that one thing that you can be grateful for can really make a big difference. It doesn't make it perfect, but it can make it feel just a little bit lighter, which I guess is my experience with it. And in that moment where I was on that trip, it was like, yeah, I was still in a lot of pain, but I was seeing new things around me. And even despite that pain, all I could think of was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, I'm thankful to be here. It's like, even if I wasn't consciously thinking that, I was definitely practicing gratitude in that moment. And I think that's what changed it for me a lot, because after that moment, I started trying to practice gratitude just a little bit more every day, to the point where after I got sick, or after I recovered from it, I really felt a lot of gratitude for the things that I had learned from that experience. And I'm not saying I'm grateful that I had the experience or that I was in that much pain. That's a totally different thing. But the things that I learned from it, there was this, I have like an entire outline here that I'm kind of skipping around and not going in order, but we're just gonna do it. There was this moment after healing, after being sick, where I remember just feeling like, why me? Why was it me? Like, I learned so many things from being sick. And again, I'm not saying that I am glad that I was in pain. I do not want, that's not what I'm saying here. But why was it me that was given the opportunity to learn the things that I did from that? If that makes any sense. My life now versus before I had pandas disorder is completely different. And I attribute a lot of that to the things that I learned during that experience. I was in so much pain that it kind of forced me to sit down with myself and you can't run away from the pain at that point because it's too immense that you just can't run away from it anymore. So it forced me to sit down and really acknowledge it and build myself back up again. And I talked about this a little bit in an episode 2 weeks ago, I think, looking at just who are you despite the labels and the way that society might look at you and all of these different things. And I'll link that above because I think that that's a good starting point for how I feel about gratitude and the fact that it doesn't just have to be about the things that you've gone through or the people around you or all of those. Those are all things that contribute and those are all good things to practice. But you can also have gratitude for the person that you are and the things that you learned. I am so incredibly grateful that I had the ability at that time to learn the things that I did from that experience. Because I'm so grateful for the life that I have now and the person that I am now. And I know for a fact if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't be in the same place where I am. So learning that despite this terrible experience, there's something that came out of it that honestly, if I were to go back and had the opportunity to make it go away or for it to not happen, I don't think I would be able to do that. If I had the opportunity to say, nope, how about I didn't get pandas? Let's see what my life would be like without it. I don't think I could. I really don't think I could because I think it shaped a lot of who I am. If I could go back and say, hey, how about I learn all of the things that I learned and didn't experience the pain, maybe that would be a different story. When we're practicing gratitude for the people that we are and the way that we are, that doesn't just mean, oh, I'm Alessia, I'm grateful for Alessia, right? It doesn't just mean the surface level things. Again, similar to that episode a few weeks ago. It means gratitude for who you are really deep down and things that can make up who you are. The way you identify, your surroundings, the people around you, your environment, all of these different things, they can all build up the person that you are, right? But then looking beyond all of that, who are you really deep down? Who are you at the core? What things make you feel alive? That is all who you are. And I think that having gratitude for that can really be empowering. I deal with a lot of comparison online, which is actually, I think, what we're going to be talking about in a few episodes, maybe even next week, and the way that I cope with that. And so one of the ways that I cope with it that I won't really be talking about in the next episode is also practicing gratitude for the person that I am. Because when I feel comfortable and confident in me and grateful for who I am, despite, not the surface level things, not for how I look, all of that. Yes, I can practice gratitude for that, but more than just that, more than just scraping the surface, really looking down at who am I and practicing gratitude for that, it really changes my perspective on a lot of these things. And especially when you are dealing with hard and difficult moments surrounding that, practicing gratitude can be something that just makes it feel a little bit light. So how exactly do you practice gratitude though, right? We understand what it means to be who you really are and to find yourself. And we understand what it means, why gratitude is important, but how do you actually practice it? It can be really, really hard. There's things that I really want to, and I've been meaning to for a long time, sit down and really practice gratitude about and really just change the way I think about it, or just let myself really give myself some grace, I guess. And I haven't gotten a chance to do it. I've been meaning to for a long time, but it takes a lot of mental effort. It really does. So first off, I want to acknowledge that and say, like, yes, it takes a lot of effort, and it's not going to be a one-time done thing. Like, practicing gratitude is something that I think is important to do throughout your entire life and making a habit of. And that doesn't mean that it's easy, though. It doesn't mean that, I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. It doesn't make everything perfect, but it can make it just feel a little bit lighter. So in terms of actually practicing gratitude, some things that I've done in the past and I'm currently doing, sometimes I'll just sit down and give myself a chance to just kind of think back at my life, think back at like, how could things be different in terms of like, if I didn't have this experience, if I didn't learn this thing, if I wasn't the person that I am, how might things be different? And why am I grateful that it is the way it is? And then also, I'll just kind of sit there and just let myself just think about it, because even if the gratitude portion of it isn't working as well as I want it to, or I just can't really focus as well, still it's a meditative state, and it can still be really helpful, because sometimes something as, just simple as sitting down and taking some space can be really, really, really helpful. Other times I'll put on music if there's a situation that I really need to work through, or that I really am like processing. Sometimes if I'm processing a difficult situation, I'll get focused on like the what ifs, the hard parts, the struggles, right? And in that moment when I'm stressed about something, I'll sometimes put on music that really uplifts me or reminds me of the things that I've gotten through, the difficult moments that I've overcome. And music makes you feel a lot of emotion. So sometimes when I need like a little boost, I'll listen to some music or like a gratitude playlist or something, and it helps me kind of boost that, where I start thinking about like, wait, like it's hopeful music. It's like, no, I can do this, like, oh, I'm strong. Oh, like I've gotten through difficult things before, I can do it again, So that I think too is really important, is recognizing the fact that like you got through every single difficult day up until now, and you can do it again. Like you've made it. You've done it. Every single moment where you thought that something was going to be so difficult you couldn't do it, you did it. And you are going to do it again. You can do it again. Like you did it before, you can do it again. And that doesn't mean that it's not difficult, right? It's painful, it's not fun, but you are strong. And I think we don't give ourselves credit for how strong we are. Being a human being means going through so many experiences, so many amazing experiences, but also some really, difficult experiences. Like, I don't think we realize, just because a lot of people go through it doesn't make it any less difficult. We as humans go through a lot of pain, and that is something to be grateful for, that you've made it through the pain that you have had. And that you give yourself credit for that. I think that's really, really important. So that's one thing that I do that has been really helpful for me. Another thing is keeping a gratitude journal. A lot of people find that helpful. I have done that in the past. Sometimes it's helpful, sometimes it's not. Things like before you go to bed, maybe just like think of three things that you're grateful for, or different things like that. I sometimes do that before I go to bed if I'm stressed, or right away when I wake up, to kind of just like start the day off on a positive note. Another thing is ask your friends, if you're having a difficult time practicing gratitude, ask your friends and say like, why are you grateful for me? Or what are you grateful for? Maybe them talking about what they're grateful for can help you figure what you're grateful for, or different things like that. And I also think that the people that surround you can also be a big impact on it. Again, if you're surrounded by negative people, it's going to be a lot harder to practice gratitude because you're not used to it. So surrounding yourself with people who support that practice, because it can be done in a private in a private scenario where you're just with yourself at home practicing gratitude, but it's also something that I think is really empowering to practice throughout your everyday life, to really live up. And like, I'll be out and about and I'll be like, wow, I'm really lucky right now. And I know that like some people find it cheesy when I'm like, wow, this is amazing, or something, or I'll be like, okay, like this is great, or I'll practice my gratitude, and some people find it cheesy, and like that's okay if you do. Like that, I'm not gonna judge you for that, but don't judge me for how much I value gratitude. So even if I don't say like, wow, I'm so grateful for that, like just being optimistic about things, trying to find the good in things, I feel like all of those can be really helpful. And of course, I'm not saying that you need to be positive about everything. Like, yes, things in life suck. I can't deny that. It's true, they suck. But also just finding some sort of gratitude, finding some sort of thing that's like some positive, just trying your best. Like, honestly, at the end of the day, if we try our best, like, I'm proud of you. Like, again, like I said, being human, it's a lot. So at the end of the day, like, just do your best. And I think that itself, knowing that you did your best, can be so helpful. So I guess that's where I'll leave it today. If people have more questions about gratitude, or we just want to talk about it a little bit more, I'd be more than happy to do that. Let me know if you like this video. Make sure to subscribe and like it. Comment below what things were helpful for you, what things you want to know more of. And yeah, I'll see you next time.